Hey everyone, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Once again, that website address for you is theclinicaltrialsguru.com. It's where we discuss clinical trials in plain English every single day. It's the intended audience is obviously study participants, people interested in learning more about clinical trials, people who are perhaps curious about clinical trials. Today we're going to talk about how your safety, you being the study participant, how your safety is a huge priority in clinical trials. It is the number one priority in a clinical trial. And then I'm going to get into telling you why that is the case. Um, First of all, any clinical trial will have some kind of risk because that's why they're doing the clinical trials in the first place. They want to see what side effects, if any, occur with the study drug or the investigational medication. And if there are side effects, they want to know the severity of it. Now, each phase of clinical trials has different degrees of risk. If you want to learn more about that, just search phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 on our blog. And phase is PHASE, and then either the number 1, 2, 3, or 4. We've got tons of videos on there pretty much breaking down each phase, what each phase consists of, the degrees of risk, the general degrees of risk in each phase, because once again, there's so many clinical trials. There's about 20,000 people in a clinical trial, or excuse me, 20 million people, 20 million Americans in a clinical trial right now in the United States. And that's every year, that number is about the same. 20 million Americans join a clinical trial. So, of course, we're speaking generally. And if you want to get more specifically, you can email myself or Don, or just look us up on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll actually help you out individually if we can. And if not, we'll get some guest gurus to help you out with your specific questions. But today's video is about why your safety in a clinical trial is number one priority. First of all, before a trial is even allowed to enroll a single person, an ethics committee has to review the protocol. The protocol is basically like the recipe for the study. So an IRB, once again, search our blog if you want to know more about an IRB. It's called the Institutional Review Board. They monitor the safety of every single study before they're allowed to enroll any participants. So they make sure that there's no unnecessary risks, that risks are kept to a minimum, and that no risk outweighs the potential benefit of that clinical trial. So now, once they approve a study, the clinical trial sites, the research clinics out there can start enrolling people, enrolling study participants, enrolling people like yourself into the study if you qualify. Now, your safety is number one priority. First of all, the whole purpose of a clinical trial is to record safety. They want to know if the drug is safe enough and eventually effective enough. So if anything happens to you in a clinical trial, anything from a headache to gas, bloating, or to more serious stuff that may even require hospitalization, it's obviously all going to be recorded. And if the side effect is serious enough, you will be discontinued from the study, but you're going to be provided free medical care to help you get over the serious side effect. And now if you have a minor side effect, they're allowed to give you medication to treat that side effect. And based on the protocol, you can either remain in the study if you choose to while taking that medication, or you may have to discontinue if you don't like the side effect and you still want to get treatment. But the bottom line is that they're going to pay for everything. So if something happens to you, as far as you needing like a medication for a headache that you received, or if you God forbid, end up in the hospital, they pay for that stuff. Your insurance company will not be billed. The research clinic will pay for it. The research clinic will get reimbursed from the drug company for that. So you're taken care of. Your safety is a number one priority, and that's not, unfortunately, it's not just because the research site or the drug company are good people. It's because it's liability. If your safety they're going to do whatever it takes for you to not have a serious adverse event because they want that drug to be approved. So at the first signs of any type of adverse event, that's what they call a side effect, an adverse event, and especially if it's an adverse event of interest, of particular interest for that drug, they're going to closely keep an eye on you. And if it gets out of control, you're immediately disenrolled from the study based on the study doctor's recommendation, and you're putting you'll be put on a specific treatment to alleviate whatever side effect you're on. So it's not like you're just going to be disenrolled from the study and thrown out of the clinic and that's it. No, they're going to do lots of follow-up, extensive follow-up with you, even as long as a year or 2 years or 3 years after. So there's really, I mean, the only risk of you joining a clinical trial is that you will get one of these side effects. But even if you do, you're going to be given excellent medical treatment, excellent medical care for that side effect. And think about it, if the drug eventually gets approved and gets to market and other people suffer the same side effect, hey, those side effects are going to be listed on the medication. Those people who are taking the drug when it's already out on the market are going to be on their own if they get a side effect. They're going to have to pay for the extra medical attention themselves. But you in a clinical trial, you're going to get it all taken care of. So that's at least one of the benefits for being in a clinical trial, even if you do get a side effect, and even if it's a serious side effect, you're going to be taken care of. It's not like they just withdraw you from the study and then you're on your own. So hopefully this helps. Safety truly is a number one priority in a clinical trial, and it's not just because the researchers are good people, although that may be true, but it's all about liability, it's all about recording the data, it's all about making sure that the side effects are understood. So your safety truly is a number one concern, and if it gets out of hand, you're immediately withdrawn from the study. But it is up to you to also communicate your side effects to the research staff, even if they're minor. Because something minor can be an early indication of something that could be more serious later on down the line. So you've got to really speak up yourself. We've seen cases of study participants that have not been asked how they're doing, and unfortunately that's not good for data. That's not good for the clinical trial. That's obviously not good for the patient themselves. So you as a study participant, you've also got to be proactive and let them know every side effect, regardless of how insignificant you may think it is. Hopefully this helps. Just keep in mind your safety is the number one priority in a clinical trial, and let us know how you're doing. www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thanks a lot.